Good morning, everybody. So today we are going to start with surface chemistry. The next chapter called surface chemistry. So this is actually the branch of chemistry where we deal with the surface molecules of any substance. There is some speciality in the surface molecules. Now what is that actually? Suppose any substance, if I take any substance, and obviously it is packed with the molecules. If it is solid, little bit of intermolecular space is there in case of liquids, and furthermore intermolecular space is there in case of gases. That doesn't matter. Certain molecules are there. Certain molecules, it is packed with the molecules. Packed with the molecules. Suppose this is solid and it is packed with the molecules. Fine. Now the molecules that is present inside the substance. Suppose this one, I am talking of this one, suppose. If we talk of this particular molecule, this is surrounded by different molecules or a number of molecules in all around. So it is attracted or it is experiencing a force of interaction from all directions. So this particular molecule is much more stable. But if we talk a molecule over here at the surface, or here at the surface, then these molecules are experiencing only a backward pull, right? Only these molecules are having the force of interaction with these molecules, with the surface molecules. Okay? So they are having much more energy. And because of this more energy, these molecules, the surface molecules, show certain special properties. We are going to study those properties in this particular chapter. The mainly three properties which we are going to study are, the first one is adsorption. The second one is catalysis. And the third one is colloids. Okay? So these are actually the three parts we are studying over here in this particular chapter are actually different branches of chemistry. If you do the higher studies of chemistry, then you will see that these are all different branches. So first, let's start with adsorption. Okay, fine. So what is adsorption? Before going into that, first just let me give you an example. You can understand it better. Suppose I had taken a glass of water. Suppose a glass of water had been taken, and in that I told you that dip a piece of chalk. You dipped. Clear? After certain time you take out that chalk from the water. What you will observe? We are going to observe that this chalk is completely wet from the top surface also, and if you break the chalk also, you will see that the chalk is getting wet even inside. Okay? This particular phenomenon of water getting inside as well as outside of the chalk is called absorption. We all know this term. Is called absorption. That means water is getting absorbed in it. Okay? Now I'm just trying to tell you another phenomenon. Now we will take some amount of color, watercolor, or some amount of ink, suppose. It's easier to say that. Some amount of ink. Blue colored ink, we have taken some amount. Now in that I told you that dip another piece of chalk. So you dipped another piece of chalk. After a certain time you just take out the chalk. What we are going to observe is that this particular chalk is getting blue. You can see that it's blue. Means what? The top part of this or the surface of this is converted into blue. That means those inks or the dyes that is present in the inks is getting attracted or getting connected, whatever you say, getting bonded with the thing, with the chalk. Now if I say that break the chalk, if you break the chalk into two pieces, what you will see that inside the chalk it is still white. What does it say? It says that the ink or the dye is not getting inside it. Means this particular phenomenon of dye and chalk is certainly not absorption. What is this? This is what is called adsorption. So what is adsorption? It's one particular substance is getting attracted on the surface of the other. Is getting attracted on the surface of the other. That is what is known as adsorption. Okay? But the water that is present in the ink will be inside the chalk only. That means in this particular phenomenon, actually both the things are happening. The ink or the dye, you can say, is getting absorbed on the surface of the chalk. But the water is getting absorbed on the bulk, we call it bulk, in the bulk of the chalk also. Along with the surface, it is getting absorbed in the bulk of the chalk. If both of these phenomena, both absorption and adsorption, so you understood what is absorption is, both absorption and adsorption are taking place simultaneously, then that particular phenomenon we call absorption. We call it absorption. So in this particular case, actually absorption is taking place where both adsorption and absorption is taking place. What is getting absorbed? It's the ink which is getting absorbed on the surface of the chalk, and what is getting absorbed? It's the water which is getting absorbed inside or in the bulk of the chalk. Okay, fine. But certainly we are not going to study anything about the absorption. We are going to see now what is adsorption. So we had seen that there are two substances where the adsorption is taking place. One substance is there on the surface of which other substance is getting attracted. Whatever is the force, we'll see that. Okay, on the other surface of this other substance is getting attracted. The one on whose surface the adsorption is taking place, the substance on whose surface the adsorption is taking place, in this particular case the chalk, is called adsorbent. So we are introducing certain terms. Is called adsorbent. And the substance which is getting adsorbed on the surface of the adsorbent, means in this case the dye, is called adsorbate. Okay, so there are two components that's there in the adsorption. One is adsorbent, another one is adsorbate. Fine. I hope all of you understood that. What is adsorbate? What is adsorbent? Now the next term I am going to say is that by certain forces, by certain process, it might be chemical, it might be physical. What can we do? We can once again remove this ink from the surface of the chalk, or we can remove the adsorbate from the surface of the adsorbent by some external process, by some physical process, or by some chemical process. Okay, this phenomenon of getting them back, getting the two components back, okay, is called desorption. Another term is called desorption. So desorption is what? It's nothing but the opposite of adsorption. Is called desorption, which is nothing but the opposite of adsorption. I hope these terms are clear. What is absorption? What is adsorption? What is absorption? Okay. What is adsorbate? What is adsorbent? And what is desorption? Now tell me, just give me one answer, simple answer, that suppose I had taken this chalk full and dipped it in a ink. So the ink that is getting dissolved over here, all of you can understand that it is getting dissolved on the surface of the chalk. That much ink is dissolved, or dissolved I should not say, it is getting adsorbed. Okay. Now I had broken down the chalk into two pieces and I am dipped in the ink. So I had broken down the chalk into two pieces and I had dipped it in the ink. Clear? Now the ink will get absorbed where? Ink will get absorbed here as well as here also, right? Ink will get absorbed here as well as here also. Yes? So where the amount of adsorption is more? Obviously you can understand that in the broken chalk the amount of adsorption is more. Why in the broken chalk the amount of adsorption is more? Because its surface area is more. So more the surface area, more is the adsorption. It has to be, because adsorption is a surface phenomenon. Since it is a surface phenomenon, obviously its surface area will be, surface area will be a vital factor or will play the main factor depending, determining the adsorption of it. Clear? So if I break it into 4 pieces, further adsorption will take place. 8 pieces, further adsorption will take place. Now when the adsorption is maximum, when we will take the chalk in the powdered state. When we'll take the chalk in the powdered state. Okay? Because in the powdered state, the surface area will be maximum. If in the powdered state the surface area is maximum, obviously the adsorption will be also maximum. Okay? So it does depend on the surface area. I hope you understood this. Next thing, what we are going to know is that, yes, now I told the adsorbent and the adsorbate are getting attracted on the surface of the adsorbent by some force of attraction. Now what force of attraction? Depending on this force of attraction, depending on the force of attraction between the adsorbent and adsorbate, the adsorption process is classified in 2 types. Depending on the force of adsorbate and adsorbent, nature of force of attraction between adsorbent and adsorbate, they can be classified into 2 types. One, we call, from the name itself you can say that what is the type of force. We call physical adsorption, or in short we also call it physisorption, and another one is chemical adsorption, or in short we also call it chemisorption. So chemical adsorption and physical adsorption or physisorption and chemisorption. Now what is physical adsorption? Obviously from the word, as I told, you can understand that the force of attraction between the adsorbent and the adsorbate is physical in nature. That's a physical force of attraction. Physical force of attraction means what? The van der Waals force of attraction. A weak van der Waals force of attraction. Okay? Whereas in case of chemical adsorption, the nature of the force of attraction is chemical. Means what? Means the adsorbent and the adsorbate molecules will form some chemical bonding. Whatever is the nature of the bonding, they will form some chemical bonding. I hope it is clear. Okay. Now let's understand the difference between the physical adsorption and chemical adsorption. Obviously, the first point of physical adsorption and chemical adsorption, the difference is, if we write the physical adsorption and chemical adsorption, obviously the first point is the nature of the bond. In case of physical adsorption, the nature of the bond is physical bonding or van der Waals forces of attraction. In case of chemical attraction or chemisorption, the nature of the force is what? Nature of the force is chemical force of attraction or chemical bonding. That's absolutely clear. Okay. The next thing is that now since physical adsorption is taking place, okay, before that let me tell you, we are going to study mainly the 2 types of adsorption, rather mainly 1 type and 1 more type. The first type is gas on solid, and second type we are going to study is the solution on solid. So mainly we are going to study this gas on solid. So the gas is getting adsorbed on the solid surface. Please understand. So the solid surface is there. On top of that, 1 layer of gas is getting adsorbed by physical force of attraction. Now this layer of gas will further adsorb 1 more layer, which will further adsorb 1 more layer, and so on. So this physical adsorption is a multi-layer phenomenon. Number of layers of gases will be getting adsorbed because it's the physical force of attraction. Whereas if I talk about the chemical force of attraction, then this adsorbent molecules will be getting attracted with the adsorbate molecules by some chemical bonding, maybe some covalent bonding or electrovalent bonding, some kind of bonding is there. Now, once this bonding is formed, there is no question of the adsorbent molecule to form the bond with the second layer. If the second layer of gas comes, that will come only by physical force of attraction, not by chemical force of attraction. So chemisorption is a phenomenon where only single layer is formed, single layer of gas is getting absorbed. So this is a unilayer phenomenon. This is a multi-layer phenomenon. This is a unilayer phenomenon. Multi-layer, that is unilayer. Okay. The third one, I am just telling you the important one. The third one. Obviously, on the solid, by physical force of attraction, on any solid, any gas can be absorbed. So there is no such specification. Specificity is very, very less. Okay? So the physical absorption is less specific. Means almost every gas less specific. Almost every gas can absorb on every solid. But will the same thing happen with the chemical absorption where the chemical bonding is formed? Chemical bonds certainly cannot be formed between any two substances. That must be much more specific. Okay? So chemical formation or chemisorption is much more specific. That is one. Next, the last important one I would say is that now suppose we want to remove this. For the physical absorption, we want to remove this gas. Means we want to dissolve it. We want to dissolve it. And chemical absorption also we want to dissolve it. In which case the dissolption will be easier? Obviously, wherever the force of attraction is less, in that particular case the dissolption is easier. So that will be easier in case of physical absorption. That means the amount of energy that is required to dissolve the gas from the solid surface is less in case of physical absorption in comparison to the chemical absorption. And that heat of adsorption is called enthalpy of adsorption or enthalpy of desorption. So that's the last point I am going to mention is that enthalpy or heat of adsorption. Heat of adsorption in case of physical absorption is low because we can very easily dissolve it. Whereas this heat of adsorption is high in case of chemical absorption. In case of chemical absorption, heat of adsorption is high. Fine. So that's the difference between the physical absorption and the chemical absorption. Okay, where these are differentiated by the different types of forces that is involved in the in the phenomenon of adsorption between the adsorbent and the adsorbate molecules. Okay. Now, one question, very frequent question that comes is that show that the adsorption processes or most of the adsorption processes are exothermic. Show that most of the adsorption processes are exothermic. How can we show this? Thermodynamically we can show this. Please understand it. We know thermodynamically delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. They told that we have to show that it is exothermic, means we have to show that for adsorption the value of delta H is negative. The value of delta H is negative. How can I show this? See, it's very simple. The gas is coming on the solid and that's happening naturally. So it is a spontaneous process. First of all, it's a spontaneous process. Because it is spontaneous process, the value of delta G equal to negative. That we know. First thing. The second thing, earlier before the adsorption, the gases were roaming around. Now the gas has come and adsorbed on the surface of the solid. So obviously this is becoming more ordered. The system is becoming more ordered. If it becomes more ordered, means randomness is decreasing. So what will happen to the entropy? Entropy will also decrease. Entropy decreases means delta S is negative. So for all the adsorption processes, the value of delta S or the entropy will be minus. Now let's see over here. Delta G is minus. If delta S is minus, this whole term should be positive. Clear? Minus T delta S should be positive. Now if it is positive, how can delta G become minus? Delta H should be minus and the value of delta H should be greater than the value of T delta S. Then only the value of delta G will become minus. So can we prove that delta H has to be negative? And if delta H is negative means the adsorption processes are exothermic. Fine? Okay. Next that is the basic things which you studied. Next is the factors on which the adsorption is depending. The factors on which the adsorption is depending. Factors on which the adsorptions are depending. Okay. The first one, nature of adsorbent. Nature of adsorbent. What is adsorbent? It's the gas, right? Now, which gas is getting adsorbed? It does depend on that. Simple, one-liner. Which gas? If the hydrogen gas is adsorbed, whatever is the amount of adsorption, or but if the nitrogen gas is adsorbed, the amount of adsorption is different, and so on. So it is depending on the nature of the adsorbent. Number 2, it depends on the nature of adsorbent. Means on which solid surface it is getting adsorbed. Whether it is nickel or iron or copper or whatever, zinc, okay, it does depend on that. Okay, so it is also depending on the solid on which the adsorption is taking place. Fine, the nature of adsorbent. The next one, it depends on the surface area, that already we know. Okay, because we are discussing about the gas and solid, so we know that how the surface area is an important part or important factor in determining the amount of adsorption. More the surface area, more is the adsorption. We know it, right? Okay. So obviously, this adsorption phenomenon will take place when the surface of the solid or the solid is taken in the finely powdered state, because that will give you the maximum surface area, and if the maximum surface area is there, then the amount of adsorption will be also maximum. Fourth point on which the adsorption is depending, is called pressure, or is actually pressure. Now, how does it depend on pressure? Obviously, pressure of the gas. Please, let's try to understand this. Okay, how does it depend on pressure? That little elaborately we have to do. How does it depend on pressure? See, it's very simple again. What is that? Suppose some solid surface is taken in its powder state and some gas is getting adsorbed. Now, if I increase the pressure of the gas from the top, more adsorption will take place. Till when? Till it will reach the saturation. As it reaches the saturation, then doesn't matter how much pressure I am applying, the amount of adsorption will be strict or will be fixed, will be constant. No more gas will be adsorbed. That is what experimentally found, and the experimental graph, if we plot, we are going to get a graph like this. That amount of adsorption, and here we are plotting pressure. When the pressure is increased initially, the amount of adsorption increases, but after certain pressure, the amount of adsorption becomes constant. Okay, so the nature of the graph that is found is like this. Yes, the nature of the gas that is found is like this. Now, in adsorption, this amount of adsorption is expressed mathematically by x by m. Now, what is x by m? It's very simple. What is x by m? Okay, x is the amount of gas. X is the amount of gas. Suppose x gram of gas is getting adsorbed on m gram of solid. So m gram of solid is responsible to adsorb x gram of gas. So 1 gram of solid will adsorb how much? Will adsorb x by m. So whatever gas is adsorbed by a unit amount of solid or unit amount of solid surface is called amount of adsorption. So instead of writing amount of adsorption, we are going to write over here the mathematical form of it, that is x by m. So x by m is what? That's nothing but amount of adsorption. And what is that? It's nothing but the amount of the gas that is adsorbed per unit amount of the solid. Per unit amount of the solid. Okay, so this is how it is varying. Now, this variation, obviously this is experimental variation, this is experimental variation. This experimental variation was tried to be explained, by some scientists, by some theories. Out of that, the first theory that was expected or accepted, I should say, is Freundlich theory. Freundlich, F-R-U-N-D-L-I-C-H, okay? Freundlich theory, and it is known as Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Freundlich adsorption isotherm. What is Freundlich adsorption isotherm? Before that, first I must understand what is isotherm. What is isotherm? I told they tried, by this theory, they tried to explain this relationship. What relationship? The relationship between x by m and p. Fine. But why isotherm? Because they tried to do it at a constant temperature. Okay? Because the fifth factor that is involved over here in the factors, out of the factors of adsorption, is temperature. So if we vary the temperature, the adsorption will also vary. So both pressure and temperature we cannot vary simultaneously. Okay? So what is adsorption isotherm? First, what is adsorption isotherm? Adsorption isotherm is the relationship between x by m and p at constant temperature. At constant temperature. Okay? And it was proposed first by Freundlich through his theory. So he deduced the equation. The deduction part is not in our syllabus, and we are going to not know this. We are going to simply know the final form of Freundlich adsorption isotherm. So what is Freundlich adsorption isotherm? The final form of it. The question that might come is that write down the Freundlich adsorption isotherm. So the Freundlich adsorption isotherm is like this: x by m